Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Good morning, and this is actually some good news. The snow has stopped falling. I'm out here gonna make some morning coffee, but first I have to find the coffee pot. Oh, I'll bet it's right here. Oh, there we go. Found it. All right. Water is frozen, and I guess we will make do with some of this fine Utah snow. Utah's rugged elk country had truly become a winter wonderland. We scouted an entirely new drainage the night before and discovered a pocket which held elk 3 miles from the nearest road. In the evening light, we saw a couple of big bulls that immediately got our attention. We started the long drive that would bring us to our jump-off point to begin the long hike to get into position. There was a sense of urgency because we had 3 days left in our hunt, and it looked like the snow and cold was here to stay. We were still confident we could get an opportunity, but the snow had effectively made the elk go quiet. The plan was to get into the elk's backyard, find their tracks, get in close, and use a soft cow estrus call sequence to lure one of the big bulls away from the herd. We're elk hunting, or are we cattle driving?
Cattle driving. Hey, cheeseburger.
Just the simple moments of cattle drive in the truck. That's right, call him. It's actually not as bad as you would think, because that calf ran down and then ran back up on the road. Think of this.
We arrived at our destination a little later than anticipated because of the deepening snow in the high country and the free-range cattle on the roads. However, as we were coming in, we spotted more elk. Our adrenaline was pumping as we put on our packs and headed into the deep canyon, across the creek, and up the other side in hopes of intercepting the elk herd and locating the big bulls.
Hey guys, it's Liz. My hubby's down there. Got my late season rolls of guns. Toasty warm. And we're right up here because we have located some stud monster bulls. So this is a little steep. Wouldn't you say it's a little steep? Yeah. We're looking at the treetops.
When we arrived at the top of the ridge after the long hike out of that steep canyon, we paused for some lunch. It was early afternoon and we still had plenty of ground to cover to intercept the elk herd. There was no way we were going to get to the elk and then get back to the truck before dark. So we formulated a plan. Liz and Kevin were going to go after the elk. I was going to hunt back down the canyon the way we had came to the truck and meet them on the other side. Okay, so we spotted some elk early this morning. I came back for the truck to drive it around to another point so they don't have to come back out the entire 3 miles. So anyhow, it's rough country, but we've seen some elk. Wow! Now that was a surprise. You have to be aware at all times. Liz and Kevin had followed the elk tracks to the top of the steep ridge. The herd was 300 yards below them in the thick timber. I had driven the truck around to the other side and was waiting in anticipation to watch this hunt play out.
That's the least of our worries. Just shows you. We are up to our knees above our gaiters in most of this snow. Not giving up though. Okay, here we go. Oh. Oh. Leg stuck. Down to this creek, which will be interesting to try to see how we're going to get across it.
I said one of these was a bull that came up because he peed and made a cone. But no bulls for us, not right now. Unless someone drops one on us.
Crazy. 2 days ago at this time, it was 87 degrees, and we were so wet.
I watched the hunt unfold from my vantage point across the way. Kevin and Liz begin their descent towards the elk herd, and as often happens, the elk were alerted to their presence and made their way single file up and over the top, taking our hopes of putting a tag on one of those mature bulls with them. After Kevin and Liz crossed the creek and made it up the other side, they were exhausted. To the north, the Wyoming snowstorm was getting ready for round 2, with another 12 to 15 inches of snow forecasted for the coming evening. With a sense of exhausted disappointment, we made the difficult decision to break camp and get off the mountain before we were trapped by the harsh weather. As we headed home, we were grateful for all the experiences we had in Utah and agreed to return again to hunt elk in this wild, picturesque land